to the She's a 10 times 5 show with hosts Laurie Jabbar and Michelle Emick. We're bringing public figures, subject matter experts, and other accomplished guests to the Studio 50 table to serve you up the best tips, tricks, and key takeaways that all us midlifers want to know about. Okay, time to join us for some times 5 fun. Let's go.
Okay, all you tenors, we are bringing a brand new topic into Studio 50, street safety for women. Many of us get complacent or take for granted our personal safety, which can be a significant and even fatal mistake. Who better to sit with Laurie and Michelle in Studio 50 to get the inside lane on this important topic than the authors of the renowned best-selling book, Street Smart Safety for Women, and TEDx headliners Joy Farrow and Laura Frombach. Joy is a retired deputy sheriff with 28 years of experience. She's faced every situation imaginable. A turning point in Laura's life was the aha moment when she correlated her mother's mental illness to domestic violence. Get out your notebooks for an enlightening discussion on the importance of self-safety measures. Let's go. Look as good as you feel, with great skin made simple. Welcome to the all-in-one skincare system created by world-renowned plastic surgeon, Dr. Amir Karam. There's no need to look anywhere else. The Karam MD Trifecta packs more than 20 state-of-the-art ingredients into an easy 3-step system that addresses all aspects of aging for your best skin ever. Use discount code SHE'S10 for 10% off your purchase. Let's go.
Okay, welcome, Joy and Laura.
Hi, thank you for having us.
Hello, we're glad to be here.
The dynamic
Thank
duo
you.
of
Yes.
safety. Yes, let's
Yes.
go. I'm super excited about this. And Michelle and I were talking, I think we take, especially as women, safety for granted. And so this is going to be good. And I have a couple curveballs that I'm going to throw at you along the way because I think the environment and landscape of things has changed dramatically over the past decade and would love to get your thoughts and takeaways. So let's go. I'm excited.
Let's do it.
Bring it on.
Okay. So before we went on air, we had talked about you guys giving kind of the backstory behind why you're doing what you're doing, because I think it's a really fascinating one. And I think it'll hit close to home as to why you're so passionate.
Okay, I'm Joy, and I started in law enforcement. Actually, even before I started in law enforcement, I was in retail security management. And I could see, even at a young age, the way I was manipulated. And, I felt it then, and I said, I don't know if it's because I'm young or because I'm a woman. Years went on, and I ended up going into law enforcement because I had such a connection with the police that I just wanted to go that route. And I always wanted to be a police officer. And after probably 10 or 15 years of being in there, I just realized how much women were taken advantage of on a daily basis, manipulated, assaulted, just everything was just thrown at them. And just throughout my career, I just thought women need to know more. And, they're not doing the right things, and they're being too kind, and they're just being taken advantage of. So I had thought about writing a book through my whole career, and it wasn't until I retired after 28 years, and Laura and I got together and threw the thought around of what should we do for writing a book, because we knew that women's safety was hanging by a thread. Right.
And Laura, what
I'm
about
Laura, and I grew up with family violence. And I just thought growing up that violence was a part of life. Now, I haven't been involved in domestic violence or family violence as an adult, but it certainly had an effect on me. And one of the big effects that it had on me was that my mother was mentally ill throughout my entire childhood and remained so till she passed away about 20 years ago. But the thing about her mental illness was that her family of origin, my grandparents and my aunt, said she wasn't always like that. And it was sort of like a family mystery, is what happened to mom? And they would ask me, what happened to your mother? Now, I knew that, our family was filled with violence, but they did not. And it wasn't until 5 or 6 years ago that I made the correlation that my mother's mental illness was the result of domestic violence, the traumatic brain injury and the CTE, that even football players have. Victims of family violence have those exact same symptoms. And so, we have all these studies going on about sports players and soccer players and football players, but nobody's paying attention to violence against women. So when Joy and I were talking, we wanted to put into our book the precursors, the predecessors, because this violence does not just happen out of a vacuum. How can women tell when they're dating some of the characteristics of a domestic abuse, because it is a pattern? And so we wanted to put the good, the bad, and the ugly, and the whole enchilada into the book. Everything that both of us knew about violence and predation against women.
This is a fact that I gleaned from the internet after reading a couple of Colleen Hoover's books, because she comes from a background of domestic violence. That 98% of women who are in an abusive relationship stick around. Does that ring true to you guys?
Yeah. I can answer first from a personal perspective, and then Joy can answer from her professional perspective. My mother never left the house. I mean, did not walk outside the house to take a walk for almost 20 years. She had the ability to. She just, for one thing, she was financially unable to leave the relationship until she finally did with family help, but she never even left the house. And so when I was looking all of this up, because I thought, how could I not realize it? It was staring at me in plain sight. And what I found in doing my research was that many women in these abusive relationships, it is so hard to define how they are doing what they're doing unless you picture them in a jail. And then finally, it becomes clear. And the jail isn't a physical jail with bars. It's a mental prison that's constructed by the abuser because of the mind games and truly because of the brainwashing. Joy?
And what women are missing, and sometimes I believe they know they're missing it, but they're giving the abuser the benefit of the doubt. And well, in the beginning, it wasn't like this, and they weren't like that to me. Oh, it's probably, so then here come the excuses. It's probably work related. It's because, well, they're under a lot of pressure. Well, he started drinking again, or drugs. And the list of them making excuses, which is unfortunate. And, they just go back to the Cinderella story in their head. Hey, they weren't like this when we first met. Well, maybe a little bit. And then they start picking it apart. But, the reasons that they're there, and nobody can, you want to pull them out of these situations, but, it always comes back to, where am I going to go? I don't have the money to go. I'm afraid to go. So this is a really big one, is being in fear of the perpetrator, as they don't know what's going to happen, to them, their family, their kids, or their pets.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And I think it's so easy for someone looking on the outside to say, why would you stay?
Right.
Well, you just named all the reasons why they would.
Right.
Well, yeah, especially when there's, you thread in memories and good times and, you might have one really bad day with your partner or someone within your household, but then if you have following that 5 days of goodness, then you tend to forget. We're like goldfish that way, right?
Right. Right.
Right.
And we talk about this too, is one of the patterns and one of the things women can look for in the very beginning of a potentially bad relationship is love bombing. And, it's great. That's the all-American story, isn't it? We want to fall in love, and, Hollywood gives us all these movies, and potential abusers love bomb their victims. And what that means is they shower them with attention and gifts, and you're the one, and I can't live without you, and where have you been? And who doesn't want to hear that? Oh, this is it. This is it. And then slowly that good time starts to go away and the abuse begins, but then it goes up and down. The abuse, the love, the abuse, the love. And, it's a very confusing pattern.
And even the violence.
Mhm.
So arguing, oh, everybody argues, but when it steps over the line to violence, then it's here come the excuses from the abuser. Well, of course, we've all heard, well, if you wouldn't have done that, I wouldn't have done that. Oh, okay. So, what happens over time is, they do start doubting themselves, and especially dealing with a narcissist, they're gaslighting them and making up stories. So, after a while, I don't know, they start thinking, and what did I do? It probably is me. Yep, it's me. I deserve that. And it is so sad. And for years, I'd go to domestics around the clock, my entire career.
Wow.
Domestic, along with everything else, rape, robbery, any other call you can possibly think of, I went to. But domestics they were nonstop. And a lot of times they were repeat calls. So they knew me by name. I knew the other person. Oh, is he still here? And it was sad. I thought you left, remember I took you there, or you left. And well, we got better. And, like I always knew it. As soon as I heard an address, I just felt so bad. Oh, no, not good.
And that was from all areas, all socioeconomic areas.
Yes. The domestic violence, and a lot of people asked me through my entire career, even family, people that weren't, in law enforcement, they, would say, where is it? Is it mostly that the drug area? No, it went from the very wealthy, all the way across the board. So it surprised people, when I'd say, oh no, it was in that area. And as a matter of fact, if I even went to a domestic, they would tell me, can you not park in front of the house? Do they all have to be here? Can you put the car? I don't want everybody to see this. So they knew what was going on. They just wanted to hide it.
Let me ask you, for the sake of the audience, I think a lot of us have become familiar with some of the vernacular you're using: gaslighting, narcissism. Can you walk through some of that with the people that don't know that? Because I think sometimes we engage with narcissists not even knowing what the hell that is.
Right. Narcissist can be the nicest people
Charming.
to other people, and they start out that way. Even on a date, when you meet them out, maybe they're funny and sarcastic. Oh, I like that. And their friends or family or whoever knew them would say, oh, nicest guy. Oh, they're nice. But their behavior is they don't have empathy. They don't care about your feelings. They are never wrong. So if they're never wrong, you're always wrong. it's always somebody else's fault. They never take responsibility. So these are part of their behavior that they don't think they have a problem. So if you bring any of this up to them, why are you talking to me like that? They will completely deflect whatever you're saying. So they don't want to go to counseling. They don't want to work out a problem because, well, there's no problem here. And you'll just go round and round with them until really you just want to pull your hair out from talking to these type of people.
Yeah,
And
I think the other thing too is I had read something, and they view narcissists typically view other people in their close inner circle as extensions of themselves. So they're not, your children aren't individuals and with their own identities. They're an extension of you, almost as if it's a limb. Is that correct?
Right. Yes. And they tend to be jealous of their own family members. So even of their own children. So if their children are doing well in sports, and maybe that's something they've never done before, they'll put it down. And, they'll put them down, or I could probably do that better. That's no big deal. So what does that do for anybody's self-esteem? And years of this. So if you're brought up, and gaslighting is the same type of behavior.
I'm going to jump in here.
You go.
This is all a big mind game
Mhm.
to the narcissist.
Right.
They do think of other people as extensions of themselves. And, I'll use my father as an example. I finally got done with college after 15 years. And his first comment to that was, see what a good job I did?
Yep.
And, my parents couldn't afford to send me to college. I got my degree going part-time. There was no acknowledgement whatsoever of anything that the family did. It was, as you said, all a reflection of them. And the gaslighting is, as I mentioned before, is truly a form of brainwashing. And, brainwashing is making somebody doubt their own truth, and gaslighting is the same. So the relationship starts, it's all well and good. And then let's say you have to go to school, you have to go to work, you can't make a date with them or whatever. And they say something like, you always do this to me. I always do what to you? Well, you're always doing this to me. You're always breaking dates. You never think about me. And the conversation always comes back to them, to the point where truly you doubt your own sanity, you doubt your own truth. And you're saying to yourself, how did I get here? And I grew up like that, thinking, no, I know that, this happened yesterday. And they would tell you, my mother would tell me flat out, that never happened. And, if you are not a strong person and you tend to doubt yourself, and because so many women suffer from low self-esteem and low self-confidence, that's the mind game. And that's how they get sucked into that whirlwind.
Well, I think
And-
that's a great,
Mhm.
I was going to say, I think that's a great segue into online, because I'd love to tap into that, because there's so much, whether it's online scams with online dating. And I can only imagine, because that's really how it works, right? I mean, they come in, kind of infiltrate in and play these mind games with you, where people, next thing you know,
Right.
can go into trafficking and everything else. So how do people, I mean, what are some signs that people need to know, and kind of what, in your experience, what have you seen on the online side?
If it seems too good to be true, it is. And the thing, obviously, about online is that anybody can get online. It is all anonymous. Anybody can be whoever they want to be. And, we've all seen the Datelines and the Dirty John specials.
Catfishing.
The catfishing, where they pretend to be somebody else. And, if you are in a vulnerable place, if you are in a vulnerable part of your life, maybe you've just broken up with somebody, or maybe, you really haven't had a serious relationship. If you're a younger person, you're going to get caught up in that. And, it goes back to the love bombing. And online, since anybody can be who they say they are, on the dating apps, it is the wild, wild west. And one of the things we talk about quite frequently is the fact that the dating app corporations, and they are corporations, are profit centers. And they know that the free version of their app, and they all have free versions and pro versions. And in the pro version, you're going to pay. Well, a lot of people say, well, why should I pay when I can go online for free and, wink at somebody or chat with somebody or whatever? Because on the free versions of those apps, there are known registered sex offenders. And the attacks on women, that the women have met their partner, their date online, I want to say 14% of attacks on women are for women. They are perpetrated against women. 14% of those are against women who are on their first date with an online predator. And those attacks are known to be, research has shown that those attacks are shown to be even more violent because, and worse even than regular, if you will, sexual assaults, because they know that they're dealing with vulnerable people. They can profile you. They know if you're needy. They know if you, have low self-esteem, and they move you to where they want you.
Well, and I'm going to say, immediately you tend to fall under the radar for the scammers if you're divorced or you're a widow. So they think, oh, somebody has money.
Mhm.
So, all of a sudden, and we know someone just recently brought up a story about how they started dating someone. And if it wasn't in the first couple of dates, they were asking for money already. So, they don't take long. They knew she's divorced or she's widow. So, they get right in there, and, unless you're sharp enough to, kind of read through these people, and because the sob story, because you'd say, well, of course you're not going to give money. But what happens is they give you a horrible, terrible cancer story, and you're like, well, that does sound bad. Oh, you don't have enough money for the doctor, and oh, you have to have treatment. Yeah.
One of the things that we suggest for women when they go online is to get your besties. Look at the profiles with your friends, get their feedback, so that if you find yourself starting to be vulnerable, then your friends are around you. Your friends can help you, and they can say, girl, no, not this one. And, you want to have support, you want to have friends, and you always want to video chat before you go on the date on the app. Don't give them your personal information. You always want to video chat on the app, so that you can, first of all, have a picture of them. And secondly, that that they are who they say they are.
You want to hear a crazy story?
Yeah.
It's going to validate and underscore just what you said. I have a recently divorced middle-aged friend. We're very, very close. And she was really excited about someone that she had met online. And I'm like, well, let's see. I need a photo. I need to see this guy. And she brings up his profile. And this is a gentleman that tried to friend me on Instagram and sent me multiple DMs. And I looked at her and I just said, that's one you're going to have to pass on. And thankfully she, shared it with me, because obviously was casting the net, and we're both blonde. We both have blue eyes. So he had a type, right?
Right. Exactly. And that's great about throwing it out there to a friend, because a lot of people, and we've done talks and talked to other podcasts and people out there that have said this, the same thing. Sometimes, you go online and they're embarrassed to tell anybody,
Right.
I'm a little older and now I'm dating again. So, I don't know if I should tell anybody. And we said,
The
yes,
opposite, yeah.
you want to bring your friends in. I don't care who it is. If you're working, somebody at work, my work friends used to do that. Hey, what do you think of this? I say, bring them in. Let them look it over.
Even the guys would bring in.
Yes. Guys would do that and say, hey, I just started dating. And what do you think? I said, no, absolutely not. Keep going. No. I would pick him out. I would
That's
pick him
right.
out for
Keep
him.
swiping.
And he said, well, I might need, no, not from this. Keep going.
What about, I know another topic, and I know we want to hit a few, but is travel. I mean, because you see a lot of women out there that are traveling by themselves. Travel feels different than it used to, right?
Right.
I mean, I think about back in the day, we wouldn't even think anything.
Nothing.
Right.
Now,
Well,
I mean,
yeah, just because you're on public transpo now and airplanes, and if you're in another country, you're using their kind of systems. So that's a great question, Michelle.
Yeah, I think people, thought maybe in the 60s and 70s, early on, oh, if anything happened, oh, it was because they were hitchhiking or, something like that. So they didn't really think about their safety as much as they're starting to now, because just predators are all over, and they're changing their stripes a little and they're acting nicer, and maybe they look better, especially when you're traveling. They're sweeter, and they're sucking up to you a little. Can I help you? And oh, well, he seems nice. And that's all you need. And here comes a drink and something in your drink. And hey, let's go here. And all of a sudden, you're kidnapped, or you're in a situation that you would rather have avoided.
We also talk a lot about ride shares. And,
yes.
especially if you take a lot of ride shares, you're on your phone, you're doing your business, you're talking to your friend, the car pulls up, you're not paying attention, you just jump in the car.
Well, can
And-
I just add something too?
Sure.
That
Mhm.
this, the reason why you're on a ride share is you've probably been drinking. If you're, and I tell my kids they Uber everywhere, but as
Right.
adults, it's like if my husband and I or my friends and I take an Uber or a ride share, it's because we've had some cocktails and we're compromised.
Right. And so whether you're drinking, whether you're traveling in a strange place, you're in a strange city, you're in a strange location, you may be traveling for business. A lot more women travel for business now than they used to. And, when I traveled for business, I was always aware, because of my upbringing, I was always aware of my personal safety. But I saw so many women who acted like the hotel was their living room.
Yes.
And, and it's not. And so from rideshare to hotels,
Mhm.
here is a basic tip that I learned from Joy and I never thought about before. Elevators,
Mhm.
you get into an elevator and a strange guy jumps in the elevator with you. I jump off now because Joy taught me that. You do not have to stay in an elevator with a stranger. It's like a cage, that's a small enclosed area. All they got to do is stop that elevator, and you don't know what's going to happen, especially if you've had a couple. So
Right.
women's travel has definitely changed, and we could talk about this all day long. But especially, women are traveling alone now more than they used to. We have more disposable income. How many solo travelers, cruise ships now cater to solo travelers. Many women are going on trips by themselves. That's a whole different level of danger.
So, and these are things that, you need to pay attention to when you are traveling, is, that over politeness of somebody, and, of yourself. So we talk about, tone down your own niceness
Mhm.
and turn up your rudeness. Sorry, it's going to have to happen
Mm.
because that's what's happening to women is their over politeness. Oh, do they need help? Oh, let me get in there. Well, we say you're not the world's Swiss Army knife. So there are times when you need to look out for your own safety and just say, no, that's not good. You know, I'm okay over here. You know, if someone is gonna take you from your location and you know, try to get you alone or away from your friends. Hey, did you want to go to this bar over here? Now you've been drinking. Well, that sounds like a good idea, but it's not.
Mm.
So you never want to leave the friends that you came with wherever you are. If you're in a tour group, bad things have happened to women who have left the tour group because somebody has pulled them away from their friends on purpose. That was the plan.
Well,
So
that's a real turd in the punch bowl because I am one of those people that am very friendly and I'm very chatty with people I don't know. It's just kind of my DNA.
Stop it. Stop it. Stop it.
And I'm overly cautious and paranoid. And I don't know if since I have a 12-year-old daughter, I'm just like, I trust no one. I don't let her go out of the house. It's like she wants to ride the bike. I'm like, I'll be out there with you. Like I'm so paranoid. And I don't know, maybe because I've talked to a few people that have told me stories. I just yeah, I feel like we just live in a different world. So
I'll tell you stories. Those stories are out there and they're all true.
yeah.
So
How do you
know.
feel that? How do you feel about kids nowadays? Because you know, we all grew up. We're in our 50s. If we grew up, you
Mhm.
went outside until you know
Yes.
mom and dad called for dinner. You're out on your own now.
Yeah,
There's no.
absolutely.
I have people that are like, oh, I let my daughters go to the mall by themselves. I'm like, no shot, no way.
No, I had handled many a call where they went, no, they didn't come home. From where? Well, they were at a friend's house and they were supposed to ride their bike home. And I'm like, it's dark out. What? You know, no. You know, there are guidelines for children, and especially now. So there was an incident in New York. Michelle, maybe you heard of this, where the child was at the park with their family riding the bike
Yes,
and
Toga.
yeah, got kidnapped. So, you know,
Is
he'd
that at a
been in
campground?
no,
It was
it was
close.
at a
It was like a park.
yeah,
Close
park.
to, yeah.
Mhm.
But so how did that happen? She's
He was actually, he lived not too far from the parents. And
The predator.
yes,
And she was just
and
out riding her bike.
you know, she was out she was with the parents, but in and family, you know, whoever friends they were, but they were there. And she just wanted to go, can I go riding around this, you know, whatever it was, this big loop, and I'll come back. And you know, whatever, she's 9 or 10. And they went, okay. And when she didn't come back, you know, in a timely manner, and they're standing there waiting, you know, all hell broke loose after that. And, you know, the hunt was on. Well, it turned out that this guy lived near them and he had a beat on them, and you know, maybe that's his area to hang out. But this is what happens, though. It happens in just, you know, a couple of minutes. So that, you know,
how often are predators people you know? Whether that be
more than you think, especially for children. Their teachers, unfortunate, you know, religious people,
Coaches.
yes, coaches, you know, sometimes physical fitness people, you know, it's just people that you'd say, well, even dentists, you know, strange things have happened.
Trust no one.
Doctors.
That's my I trust no one.
You need it, you need to be in there. And the, you know, the other thing with children is that you need to reinforce with them is they have to be comfortable to be able to tell you anything. So, of course, the predator will always tell a child, if you tell anybody, so of course they're, in fear, I'll hurt your parents. Uh-oh, they don't want that. Teenagers, younger children. So, the more that you instill in them, I don't care what happens, you need to tell me if you're uncomfortable, if, the teacher touched you, if anybody. So this way they become more comfortable even as they get older, in college age. You can tell me, if something happened, because a lot of times with sexual assault or, any kind of assault in a relationship, they don't want to tell anybody. And that's sad.
Yeah, because there's shame around that.
Yes,
And,
yes. And that's unfortunate,
well,
right?
the other thing to caveat that is if you're a parent or a grandmother or aunt and someone comes to you and says that something has happened, you better be prepared to fucking act on it, right? Because if
Right.
if it falls on deaf ears,
Right.
they're not going to feel safe.
Exactly. And what happens is so many times is, the parent will say, and unfortunately, here's a child is coming to tell you that Uncle so-and-so, or somebody's boyfriend, they touched me, and you go, oh, he would never. So once you come out with that, where do they have to go with it? They know already you're not believing them. At what point would you believe them?
And also keep in mind, children in and of themselves, they don't know all of this. They have to be taught by somebody. And that's what predators do, particularly those who are friends of the family, somebody that the child knows, they groom them. And, it starts into a friendly relationship and slowly they begin to sexualize it. And so, as Joy said, open communication and always believe and advocate for that child.
Believe them over
Any adult.
right.
Okay, let's take a left turn here. So I'm going to be 55. I'm still spry, but I'm starting to slow down a little bit. And the world is kind of crazy right now. And a lot of people I know are getting conceal and carries because of fear, because we've got a homeless crisis in a lot of areas, especially in the metro. We've got illegal immigration. And so people are starting to get really freaked out. What are your thoughts about all of that?
Here's where I am on the women and weapons. If you're going to have a weapon, then realize what you need to do when the time comes. Because if you need to take action, I say I'm all for defending yourself and your family. But you need to know that you can't just throw it in your purse. You can't just buy it and never get a lesson. You need to know how it works. Also, you need to know that if I shoot this person, I did it because they were going to kill me and they were going to attack me. And this is what I had to do to defend myself. And that's where you are with it.
And as a civilian, I have a concealed carry, full disclosure. I've had one for 25 years. I'm a small person and, I've been attacked several times and I have had training. I didn't just buy a gun and throw it in my purse. We've heard many women say, I just want to have one around the house. That's not what you want to do. If you are going to get your concealed carry permit, take lessons, know how to use it. Don't hesitate to use it. And I'm going to add another caveat is we have heard so many women say, oh, I just could never use it. I'll just wave it around. Well, let's throw another variable into the mix. What if somebody were threatening your child? Then would you be able to use it? If you couldn't use it to defend yourself, Could you use it to defend your family? Could you use it to defend even, somebody who broke in your house? And, when it comes down to it for me, because I have been attacked, I will not hesitate to use it. But I will tell you, the noise is terrible. And, I have to practice. I have to desensitize myself. We have, Joy's shot for many years. I have not, 25 years off and on, I practiced, but now we go to the range very regularly and practice so I can desensitize myself. And, I'm a pretty good shot. But, I think we think that's a very personal decision for somebody. But if you are going to buy it, get sized for it, because small hands, and truly know what you're doing.
Amen to that. Yeah.
Great advice.
Carry something, if it's not a deadly weapon, then carry pepper spray, carry something else, just so you're not leaving your house with no self-defense tools at all besides your hands.
Okay, so that's good advice. So you should always have something.
Absolutely. Have something, have a knife, we even talk about having a small flashlight, a small metal flashlight. You can turn that on them on the during the day or at night, and it can disorient them. So, the worst comes to worst and they continue to attack you, then you could still attack them with the small flashlight made of metal. So you want one that's, obviously not going to crumble in your hands. And I also use a tactical pen. So it's a regular ballpoint pen. It's made of steel. It has a steel tip that can break glass, and it could fit in your pocket. You can wear it at work around, one of your lanyards, if, that's the job that you're in your pocket. But it's slim enough to carry with you, but it's also a good self-defense tool. If somebody grabs your arm, what are you going to do if you don't have anything? For a lot of women, it's very hard, especially even if you had a disability. It's difficult, or maybe you don't have that much strength to pull away from someone. This would be good to stab them in the arm, the throat, the face, something to get them off of you. So, these are just things that we say, carry something else if it's not a firearm.
Yeah. The problem is we have these massive handbags, finding a little pin would be this needle in a haystack in my bag. So
No.
when we're on the move, we should probably have something smaller that we carry, like a smaller crossbody or something of that nature, right?
The crossbody, or there is the thinner ones now, and they're also theft proof. So they have those also. So the locks are in, they're I'm going to say
Interlocking.
interlocking, so you're not going to be pickpocketed from them. And also the strap is interwoven with steel. So it's not a heavy bag. We have them. It's not a heavy bag, but nobody is going to run by, especially if you're vacationing, traveling. Nobody's going to run by and take a knife to that, which they do in a lot of places. They see a purse strap and all they have to do is come by with the knife, but you can't cut through these bags. So it's just, and also you can, use it to deflect, any kind of attack. Also, if you had a backpack, you can hold it up in front of you if you needed to, until you can, take something out of your pocket. But I like to leave things handy. So the pepper spray has a ring on it, and I leave it outside hanging off of my bag. It's a little bejeweled, so it, you don't really know what it is. It doesn't scream pepper spray, so you wouldn't know. A lot of people thought it was just hand sanitizer. Well, it's pepper spray, pepper gel. And this way I have it. I don't have to go in my bag. I don't even have to look down. I can just pick it up and hold the button and just spray.
When you talk to people about that, Joy, when you have those conversations, do you have times when people are like, oh my goodness, that's silly. Why would you need?
Yes. As a matter of fact, we've heard that plenty. And there are a lot of women who said, oh, it can never happen to me. And that's their mentality. And that's what we're trying to change. We want you to think differently, as if it hasn't happened to you, that's great. But you know what? To continue with that theory of it'll never happen to me, I know what to do. You may get overpowered. And, even if you have nothing, so know what to do. So, hit them in their ears, hit them with the heel of your hand in their nose, do something, scream, which is a really big thing that women don't do, believe it or not. And, besides yelling help, you want to yell help, I'm being attacked, just so people understand that you didn't just fall over, and they'll take their time. Who knows what happened to that lady. But if you're in a hotel, scream, the police, help me. So you want people to come to your aid. And a lot of times women are not loud at all. You always want to be loud. And if you don't have any other weapons, you have your hands and your feet and your high heel shoes, and use them all.
And the other thing I'll add is women seem to fall into two camps. The ones who have not been attacked, do have that mentality or have given us that, oh, this is so over the top. The women who have been attacked say, tell me what to do so this never happens to me again.
Yeah.
Right. Especially as you're getting a little older. I mean, hey, I'm getting up there and in years a little bit too, and even though I've had years of training and I know what to do, I still have to go to the range because, well, arthritis, maybe kicking in, and my gun hand isn't as strong as it used to be. So, these are things that people think, oh, no, I go to the gym. Well, that's another thing, is it's good to stay fit, because what if you fall over or you're running and you trip? Try this at home. Can you get up quickly? How are you going to get up? So put yourself on the ground at home and try and get up and see how that works out for you. And that's not under stress. So, if somebody was running after you or trying to make it to your car like a bad movie, you want to just be able to roll right out of that on your knees and pick yourself up and get to the car. Yeah. So keep in shape.
Keep in shape. I'm ready to go to the range.
I know.
Come on. Come up there, take it.
Yes.
She knows, and it seems like it's come up in every episode, but I am ex-military, and I am in the process of getting a sidearm. And yeah, it's been a beat, and you have to be consistent with it. If you don't shoot your sidearm for even a month, it's not a good thing. Yeah.
And I'm fascinated because Laurie and I talk about this, but I come from a family, no one had guns. Now everybody's talking about it. My family members, people are like, yeah, I'm going to go get my, what is it? Conceal and carry. And I'm going to go get my permits and all this stuff. And I'm just fascinated how the world has changed, how it's gone from a lot of people fearing it to now feeling like it's a necessity.
Yeah.
Right. Well, and I've also told women, we were asked this the other day about, active shooter. The problem with that is also in some people's minds is they tend to downplay when they think there might be a serious situation. I don't think it's that. No, if you hear loud pops in the mall, that's gunfire. It's not fireworks. So in today's world, that's what you need to think, and that's how you need to prepare and preload your brain for what would I do in this situation if I was in the mall? Which way are you going to go out? So these are things to think of. Even though you've been to the mall 50 million times, now you're under pressure and maybe somebody has set something off in the mall and you can't see Macy's now. You don't know how to get out. So it's good to plan out your routes of how am I going to get out of here? What if, wherever you go, what if this happened? How would I get out of here? What would I do?
And we want to emphasize, we are not wanting women to live in fear. We are not saying live in the red zone, walk around and be ready at any moment. No, that would be a terrible way to live. We are just saying, you know what? If you're in the mall, look for your exit sign.
Right.
Look to see what the easiest way is to get out. Could it be through the food court? If you're walking through the parking lot, just look around and just be curious about things and just be a little bit alert, not live in the red zone, not, say, I need to go over the top and, put the black stripes down my cheeks and, low crawl through the parking lot. No, but be prepared for any event. And you know what? If the event comes, that way you have already thought through a plan and you say, you know what? I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to reach for my pepper spray. I'm going to grab my tactical pen. I'm going to go this way in the parking lot if I see somebody that gives me a bad feeling or makes me uncomfortable. We're just saying be prepared and live your life. Be the happy person, be a nice person, but, just do a little bit of mind preparation and, someday it could save your life or the life of somebody that you know.
Yeah, you know what I say to my two adult boys? I say the term I use is keep your head on a swivel.
Exactly.
Because especially when you're in an area you're not familiar with, keep your head on a swivel. Don't be buried in your phone while you're walking around.
Right.
Just be cautious. And the other thing I'll add, as someone who has worked with weapons, is if you're thinking about getting one, you need to go out and shoot a few, because there are
Right.
people that they just can't shoot weapons.
Exactly.
They're just unable to, especially under duress, pull the friggin' trigger. So you have to know that about yourself. If you're that person that's going to freeze and not be able to do that, it's something you need to know, because not everyone can.
Right. And I totally agree with that. And we've had plenty of women that have said that also. I don't know if I could. Well, all you have to do is get in there. They make them real small today. Get in there, try them out. It's not that big a deal. But the biggest thing is to hear, even if you don't shoot the firearm, the biggest thing is to hear the sound. So you understand that, and the reverberation of that is that when you do shoot it, you won't get scared from it. A lot of people think that I don't want to shoot myself. That gun is not going to shoot you from the table. It's not going to shoot you from your purse. Anybody that's ever been shot by a gun accidentally, somebody pulled the trigger and somebody stood at the other end of it. It didn't go off by itself.
Yeah. Okay, this is awesome. And
Yeah.
let's tell everyone where to find you, the dynamic duo, and your resources.
Streetsmartsafety.org. So we have, we have our tips on there. We have a plethora of information. We have blogs, telling people, all people, not just women. We focus on women because of the emotional and the mental aspects of predators and women being victims. But anybody can benefit from our information, and we hope they do.
We've written plenty of articles and been on many podcasts, so
It's all
there's
there.
plenty men can listen to too.
This is your favorite one, though, right?
Yes, it is.
You guys
Yes,
are awesome.
it is. We love you. Thanks for having us on.
Well, we're not done with you. We're not done with you yet.
I'm staying.
We
Yeah.
always end on fun.
Yay.
When we have heavier topics, and this would fit in that wheelhouse a little bit. It's the luxury pickleball, their sponsor, lightning round, where we ask the times 5 questions of the same ones this season of all of our guests, and we're going to put you in the hot seat. Are you ready?
Let's do it.
Okay. Where is I can't wait for this one. Where is your happy place?
Oh boy, that's a good one.
I'm gonna say my happy place is on the couch watching Netflix.
Yeah.
My happy place is walking my dog before dawn.
Oh, I like that.
Oh,
Yeah.
what kind of dog?
She's a pointer setter. She's about 60 pounds. And there is just something about being out there in nature. It's quiet. Nobody's gotten up yet. It is just an amazing time for me.
I love that. Okay, next question is, you're on a flight, you're on a long flight. Who would you want to sit next to? And it could be anybody living or deceased.
Ooh. Oh boy, that's a really good one too. I'm a geek. I am a total geek. So I am going to go with the scientist from Stanford who has been working on AI, Dr. Li Fee.
Wow.
So she's been working on AI for the last 5 years. I am totally entranced with it. I would sit from New York to San Francisco and listen to her all day long.
And she'd scare the shit out of you.
She would scare the shit out of me.
Which is why I'm gonna go with comedy is my favorite, Jerry Seinfeld. I gotta laugh my way because I'm a bad flyer.
Okay.
Love those.
All right. This is kind of a left field question, but I think it's an important one.
Mhm.
Do you believe in aliens?
I do.
Absolutely, without a doubt.
Yes, I
Sure.
do. Mhm.
Geekorama here.
Mhm.
There are over 1 billion galaxies, billions of planets in all of those galaxies. There is no conceivable mathematical way we are the only ones.
Oh yeah, they're landing here.
They're here right now. They're here with us. Okay.
Stay, baby.
Yeah. All right. Favorite concert you've ever attended?
Favorite
Uh-oh.
concert.
Lady Gaga.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'm going to have to go with
Oh,
Joy on that.
yeah.
Lady Gaga. Man, she rocked it.
Yeah,
Totally amazing.
love her.
I love that. That was
Same.
not what I thought you'd say. Okay. So we're going to end on this. And this one, as I say, has a little bit more teeth to it. Little gravitas is what I like to say.
Hmm.
If you could tell your former selves what you know today, what would you tell that young girl?
I would tell her, don't worry, it's going to be okay.
Save your money early. Start saving early.
Yep.
Hi. Can you talk to my kids? Because that's what I tell them too.
Mhm.
It's a whole
Mhm.
another episode. We need a series.
We need
You
a
bring us back. You bring us back.
Coming back.
Yeah.
Definitely.
All right, ladies. It was so great to have you in
Thank you so much.
virtual Studio 50. You like that term?
I do.
That's amazing.
The disco ball comes out in a second. So
Yeah.
And Lady Gaga's playing. Woo!
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much. It's
This-
been such a good time.
This was
Yeah.
wonderful.
Yeah. Thank you. And thank you to our audience. And we will catch you next time.
Thank
All
you.
right. Take care.
Bye, Michelle and Laurie.
Bye.
Are you looking for high-end pickleball equipment, attire, or even a luxe pickleball vacation? Introducing Luxury Pickleball, the curator of all products and experiences for your social or competitive pickleballer. Paddles, attire, accessories, and quality life experiences wherever you travel with your paddle. Use discount code SHE'S10. That's SHE'S10 for 20% off for quality on and off the court. Let's go.
Follow us on Instagram at She's a 10 times 5. You can click on the link in our bio to listen to all of our previous episodes, as well as check out our live video interviews over our YouTube channel. You can also find us on Apple, Spotify, iHeart, pretty much wherever else you decide to listen to your favorite podcast. Don't forget to hit subscribe.